我觉得接下来打苏宁的话，他们下路很可能下路玩的那个福瑞是 AD 他的玩的乌鸦比较多，可能我们会在这方面讨论一下怎么限制一下他的这些英雄池。这个赛季，VG 整体来说成绩确实不好，因为我们其实一直在换人，换了，因为本来是5个人的比赛，可能都换了要将近20个队员了，可能在这方面还是需要。可能下个赛季的话，在这方面可能需要开始就固定一下队员的训练量嘛。
Well, they didn't take away that Swain pick going into game 1, but we'll touch on that later during picks and bans. I like what he's talking about going into his big 20-man change for Vici coming into 2018. They need to find some, you know, consistency going into 2019 when it comes to their roster.
And there is a thing about having a 10-man roster, you know. I think there's a lot of merit in having a 10-man roster. Having a sub in every position should keep you hungry and make you want to stay in that main roster, right? I actually think that Cloud9 is a very good example of doing that effectively, but they had 20 and they constantly subbed them out, and it wasn't even one player for every role. No. It was just constant players substituting with, from the outside revolving perspective, no rhyme or reason. You're right, a revolving door, so to speak, of those players. So for Vici, I think he's absolutely on the money.
Makes even more sense with future internationals having 2 substitutes. So I know you're a big fan of that change.
I don't know if that's been...
Oh, I believe it has been going through.
I thought it was just NA.
Ah, only NA?
I'm pretty sure that rule...
What the heck? So Clements lied to me.
I don't know. I can't confirm or deny if Clements lied, but what I do know is that the ruling of 7 players was for NA playoffs.
Okay.
Because they had 6, which I thought was a bit small already anyway.
No, NA is the best region in the world, right? So if NA is getting 7, then we should get 7 for internationals, hopefully.
Right.
Wow, you agreed!
Right.
Thank you!
Yeah, that was pure agreement. NA is...
but yeah, I mean, the LPL is 10. You can have 5 substitutes and 5 starting players.
Including playoffs.
Yep. I mean, RNG worked with 2 different players during the finals. EDG constantly subbed out their jungler between Klidov and Haro, even in the finals itself.
I mean, the RNG tragedy is that you could only take 6 to an international, right?
Yes,
and they're playing with 7 effectively. Where that is something that, as the LPL, as viewers of the LPL, you don't want to see that one changed as well. If you want to see RNG there to put their best foot forwards, you would want 7 players there so they can have Let Me and Zatai in the top lane, as well as Kasa and MLXG in the jungle.
I mean, it's moving forward, if those changes are brought in to international events, that would be beneficial for some of these teams. But for Vici, they need to solidify their roster before they can even think about that. I reckon you just stick the same 5 players in there and say, all right, you 5, you're it for Spring Split next year.
I mean, there's a few ways to do it. None of them will be ways that we can actually say would be the most successful one, because it really depends on how the players and organizations work. So yeah, I think for Vici, just find a solid 5. Whether they have, you know, as long as they've got a good mix of experience and young rookie talent, then they can grow them to be better players. And that's what you'd be looking at for Vici. This whole year for them should have been about growth and development, but unfortunately they've still found themselves in dead last with a single set victory. They really need to find something, if anything.
Well, this is their redemption match almost against Suning if they can pick up a win, but Suning have looked strong at the first set. First match, to say. Even with the mistakes that we're making, even with the good plays that Vici were making, Suning just looked like the better team today. They're going to try and continue through going into game 2. Let's get into picks and bans for this second set. Vici, we're talking about seeing if they can take away some of Fury's picks. But going into this match again, they're on red side.
Oh boy. Immediate
Trundle ban. So they were afraid of Hacker's pick going into the last match.
Yeah, I mean, the Trundle is really good at enabling picks like the Swain. So I do think that they've got complete awareness of that the Swain will most likely be picked here, especially with the Shen locked in. But even before that, Shen was secured. Banning the Trundle, because the Pillar allows you to get a pullback. That allows the pullback in a Shen taunt, and suddenly you've got a CC combo from just a Pillar, which traditionally only forces a single summoner spell for the most part. Suddenly you're getting kills with it. So I think that is a ban of expectation that they want to go against, and they're comfortable going against the Swain. They just want to try and taper its strengths off.
They're not outright taking it away just yet. You're right, they don't really need to force anything. Let's see what Vici do, because they lock in Ezreal for Martin. Caveman is a big Alistar player, and quite a few of the former Vici AD carries have been big Ezreal fans. This has been a very staple bottom lane pick for the organization.
It definitely has been. That's something that you'd expect to see a lot from Vici's 2v2. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sin and Gaming still picked themselves up a Swain. Maybe in this rotation, I would expect even Swain and a jungler, but it seems like they've got a very high priority towards their mid lane right now. See where they go with this. Usually junglers to be locked in the first 3.
Yeah, Ryan's getting locked in very early for the side of Suning. So Angel will pick up that champion unless we see Xiao Ao flex it into the top lane.
They never count out Xiao Al, his ability to flex champion.
Or even Fury taking it to the bottom side of the map, but Mrs. Fortune being hovered there, so is Swain. Swain does get locked in as their bottom lane pick of choice. Immediate Zoe lock in for Fire Rain.
Yeah, mild shock on the Swain, but at the same time, Fire Rain picking up his Zoe. So this is one of those moments where if Suning Gaming are going to flex it and give Angel a Yasuo, now is the time. And then your draft may have some strengths about it. Hacker being able to pick up a tank in the jungle would also round out their composition. As we're going to the second ban phase, Vici, they haven't picked a jungler, and neither have Suning Gaming. So there's a lot of contention around that role, potentially.
Gangplank was the ban that comes out from Vici in the second ban phase, so targeting Xiao Ao from his pick last match. MVP performance coming out from Xiao Ao. He got all the way up to Platinum.
He did indeed. Sick plat player. Challenger IRL though.
What was it? Was it Diamond 3 is the meme from Worlds? So the players go to Worlds and Diamond 3 accounts get memed. I think Balls was one of them, and he got a pentakill in on Darius.
Yeah, that was a funny one. I mean, Korean solo queue is so competitive that, you know, some people come back and they're like, man, I felt like gold was harder than diamond sometimes. So you can't blame someone for getting stuck like that. But
don't worry, that's how I felt in Oceania.
Why?
Gold was harder than diamond.
What?
Swiffer was easy to take down. The gold players in Oceania are the real heroes. They're too good, Rusty. They're too good. Rusty is the most confused I've ever seen him in my life. So he's abstaining from this conversation. Olaf is going to be banned out by Vici, Nidalee banned out by Suning. That's interesting. No Swift on the side of Vici, but they still decide to go for a Nidalee ban.
Yeah, it seems like perhaps there's some shared champion pools here between the junglers of Vici. With the Nidalee gone, with the Gragas gone, and an Olaf to follow, this would not surprise me. The potential of a Sejuani, especially with Olaf removed, is very high. Trundle also banned, so keep that in mind, as is Camille. If you want a hard carry Suning Gaming, they could still consider the Graves. But to match the Sejuani with the Trundle ban, you'd be looking at a Zac. And that's not a Yasuo.
Suning will have to show their hands. No, it's not.
They need physical damage. So
that's a Yasuo.
Lock it in.
Yasuo gets locked in. So where's this Yasuo going now? With Zac locked in, you predicted the entire draft phase for Suning, Rusty. How do you feel right now?
The only one I missed was Ryze, but they were quick. I was not prepared for a Ryze to be locked in second.
So this is going to be Yasuo top lane?
It should be Yasuo mid into the Zoe matchup. Yasuo handles it, but also we don't know what the top lane matchup will be until Vici finish off their draft, so I think you can very easily adapt on the fly.
Flex on flex on flex.
If it does become a Cho'Gath, then Ryze traditionally, and I'm speaking back towards when Cho'Gath was an AP mid laner, Cho'Gath was the counter to Ryze. So it's not an ideal top lane matchup, but then you're choosing, you know, we want to win a lane, which lane is it going to be? And I think having mid lane win as a pivot point is equally as potentially important.
Stop.
They're making it hard for us.
Stop it.
This makes the most sense. You know, top's a long lane, so whilst Cho'Gath can control a Ryze in mid, there's more freedom potentially for Ryze top. Also, Abyssal Mask exists.
They've got until 20 seconds in the countdown to decide where these picks are going to go. Then no more swaps can take place. Yasuo in the mid lane, Ryze in the top lane is the pick coming out from Suning. Fury will get another chance on Swain in the bottom lane.
And Suning are always a fun team to watch, Fish. They are known. Back when they played against JD in the e-commerce wars, they are the early and mid-game team, where JD Gaming were the early and late-game team. And with that early game prowess that they have displayed time and again, they've also picked themselves a scaling composition. They've gone for the Ryze, they've got the Yasuo, they've even got a Zac thrown into the mix who wants to hit some levels to be super strong. So if they can still be strong in the early game, whilst drafting towards late game, that only bodes well for me, especially for Suning Gaming coming into playoffs to perhaps have strong drafting against their respective opponents.
Strong early and mid game is what you crucially need in the LPL as well. We've seen JD actually struggle with their mid game. That's probably the weakest part of their...
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Let's start the split. They were one of the 2-1 teams. Yes, they're on the winning side of 2-1s, but their second or first match was usually not very good in the mid game from JD. Recently, a lot better.
There was always a meme about them and securing Barons, but Suning Gaming never really had those problems.
They fixed that recently.
Their problems were closing out games. So I'd say it's actually a fairly similar thing that both teams have been able to work out the kinks from.
That came back to bite them, because JD were the late game team that closed out matches against Suning last split. Denied Suning their playoff run. Suning had 2 opportunities, dropped both, and JD snuck in there. Now they get a chance at playoffs. They still got a couple of games of the regular split to go through first. Let's get on to the Rift for their second match against Vici. No! LGD's not here!
They're actually still going though, respect. So I do have one amendment that we need to make, Fish. We have done wrong by Vici Gaming.
Okay.
They are in fact gold. That's not bronze as their team ranking.
It looks very bronze.
They've also all promoted up to gold in this game, where Suning have suddenly found themselves in platinum. So
except for FLICKR and Yoon.
We're racing all the way up. But Vici are definitely gold, whilst that isn't as vibrant as the ones on the player portrait.
Bronze.
Just thought I'd point that one out.
It looks very bronze. Like, the silver looks great. I don't know. Don't like it. Getting into this match, though, we can take a look at the Keystone runes. Comet being picked up by Cho'Gath, heading to the top lane, is the only one that's really one we could talk about.
It's about controlling lane, you know, like if he was against the tank, Grasp of the Undying could work, but if you're choosing to go Comet, and this is not the first time we've seen this from a Cho'Gath actually, usually when they go for Comet, it's about having extra lane control. So firstly you get more damage from being in the sorcery tree primary, then you get a Comet burst on top of all of that, and you're against the mage in the top lane. So if you hit any form of damage, even just yell at them loudly and silence them.
Ah!
Then
Feral Scream!
Extra burst that comes from that. So your smaller trades are better, your longer trades are better.
Good lockdown from Fury. Caveman takes some damage. Taunted as well, so they'll get him down to about half health. That was
not gonna
curious.
feel good.
Curious coming out from Caveman.
I believe 8.15 is the patch as well, where suddenly supports only get 2 potions, not 3. So traditionally, when you look towards the bottom lane, you would say that that was not the worst trade. Well, obviously, it wasn't a good trade, but having a 3-potion Alistar with a passive to heal available, he's going to be back at full, no problem.
You're not the case.
But he loses another potion, and the poke from a Swain and a Shen will continue, and will be unrelenting if they get a sniff, if they get a lead. As Yoon is taking some Raptors away from Yolda.
What are you doing, Yoon?
Taking some Raptors away from Yolda.
Yeah, I know, Rusty. I was asking Yoon, not you. 2 different names.
Well, one's a title. Either way, Hacker's going to get the Raptors. He went from blue buff to Wolves to Raptors. And
tilting. Managed to gets the cheeky auto attack with the empowered damage. Puts Angel to sleep for a little bit in this mid lane, but it's been a much more quiet early game between the 2 teams.
And to speak towards this lane as well, we mentioned it was a counter into the Zoe. It's not a level 1 counter, and it's definitely not a level 2 counter. It's from 3 onwards, because at level 3 Yasuo gets win wall. And whenever you've got the win wall, even if Zoe puts you to bed with the trouble bubble, you will not take the increased damage from that. So your trade patterns are a lot better, and you actually have kill threat against the Zoe, because if she uses the bubble and it misses, and you didn't have to win ball, you win.
It's the play bottom lane though. Caveman popping the Igniter towards Fury. Yutang is here as well, trying to collapse, and first blood picked up by Vici jungler.
Once again, they get first blood, Vici. This time though, it's not on the top side of the map, it is towards the bottom lane. And they take down Fury. Now similarly to the last game, Fury will teleport, and he'll be okay, and he won't miss too many minions. But that recall timing was not ideal from the Swain this time around, so not feeling too good with the items that he has purchased.
But again, another good early game start coming out from Vici's jungler.
You know, one thing that does confuse me here, Fish, whilst we are looking at the Cho'Gath's runes, is that he didn't go towards Resolve Secondary. He actually went towards Inspiration.
Yep.
So, Inspiration Tree, giving him that minion dematerializer, is going to be nice for controlling lane against a Rise for certain. Gives him pretty good back timings as well, maybe some more free recalls off. but the Resolve Tree tankiness is something that will be solely missing from him. In its entirety.
Interesting. Yeah, but he has gone towards that minion dematerializer, starting to use it. Held on to the snacks for quite some time. Zoe's picked up her own as well, so 2 minion dematerializers in this match. A couple of players, Rusty, have been promoted. We've got Xiao and Fury and Diamond.
Just looking at that, yeah. Congratulations, lads. You've done it. Do they go to Master? I reckon they're Master then Challenger.
Master then Challenger?
But I reckon, you know, the way it should work is like the real Master. They're dancing. Hacker wins. Is that like only so many people can be Challenger. So you have to have more votes than the other challengers to get into the tier.
Oh boy.
Thank God that was used just to push a wave at level 6, not at level 1. But Zoe is controlling the mid lane because, ladies and gentlemen, she found a redemption.
Look at them. I know it's already a problem when Zoe gets redemption. Why does it just feel like she has just longer range with her redemptions?
She does.
How does she get longer range?
So pretty much from the side bush of the mid lane, you can hit your side lanes.
Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
If redemption doesn't let you do that, why does Zoe's redemption let you do that?
Why is redemption on Zoe a thing is the bigger problem.
That's why. What Cho'Gath said. I don't know what he said, but whatever he said.
I heard the word consume.
Yep. To consume, Rusty.
Yeah, well, she does consume minions and win the game through the redemption. Zoe's a silly champion, and you know what? I'm not going to continue to talk about it. She just makes me upset.
You abuse the pick in solo queue.
That's a completely different conversation, mate.
How? No, if you don't like the champion, why are you playing the champion?
All right, you want to have this conversation?
Let's go.
If I queue up for support and I get filled into an off roll against challenger players, I'm going to play something that I can abuse to go even with them.
Okay.
And even then, when I'm playing Zoe, I cannot play that lane that well anymore, so I do int my head off. But I'm queuing for support, dude.
I mean, you play normal games with us sometimes, and you still pick Zoe mid.
Yeah, she's fun.
That you...
In ranked, I abuse her to stay not losing games in off rolls. In normals, I just have fun. Yildan's platinum. We did.
Yep, he is platinum. Woohoo! Do you keep your ranks after every match?
Good question.
Because then I feel like we're accelerating these players a little bit too quick.
Yeah, I don't think you keep your ranks.
Aldi just got knocked up to platinum as well.
Vici are plat. They're actually...
Even with Suning, they're both plat teams.
Holy moly. Yeah, these fans love Vici gaming.
Just Audi and Yutang. I think Yutang deserves it based on his performance.
I agree. I mean, Audi on his Quinn made a couple of oops-a-daisies moments there. Overexerted himself in situations where perhaps he shouldn't have, but such is the life of Ignite Quinn. It's the risk you take, and Suning Gaming were actually the team that rotated very nicely towards them.
Yep.
Now speaking towards Suning Gaming in this one, they've lost a lot of pressure in that bottom lane. You note that they're trying to keep it frozen for as long as they can for the most part, but the adaptation from Vici of adding an Ezreal to that lane has helped them a lot. I think more importantly, the adaptation of adding a Zoe to the middle lane has done everything for Vici in terms of map control.
Oh, that's a fight being picked by Suning. Hacker jumps in. Wants to lock down Yutang, but not able to do so. Doesn't get the second proc of his rubber hands.
It's around the Scuttle Crabs just as much as it is the Mountain Dragon. If someone dies there, there's a chance that the objective is taken with it shortly afterwards. But for the moment, it is going to be a relatively calm early game here. And I think that actually bodes quite well for Suning Gaming.
Why so?
When you speak towards their scaling as a composition, if they have a free early game period and get towards level 6 pretty much unstopped by their opponents, then I'd say they're actually pretty comfortable. Not to say that Vici aren't.
No, Vici look fairly comfortable with their composition as well. They should scale well into the late game.
They have pretty good scaling. Cho'Gath as a tank does deal some damage, so his scaling is quite good, having that potential kill on a carry at all stages of the game. But as Zoe, Zoe actually does drop off a little bit in terms of damage towards the later stages of the game, where Yasuo only gets stronger. And the Rise, comparably to the Cho'Gath, will probably be doing much more damage, just be not as sturdy. So there are differences in the scaling that they have. I would say that I would give it to Suning by a hair's breadth.
Nice proto belt from Fire Rain, able to escape from that gank, but both teams should be comfortable scaling into the late game, so we shouldn't see the action pick up too much anytime soon. Yudang has been looking towards the mid lane a little bit more, sorry, bottom lane a little bit more, whereas it has been FLICKR looking towards that mid lane more.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me what we're looking towards as to like when a fight would break out, I would say first item completions. At the moment, Yodan has completed his first item in the jungle role. Zoe, though, sitting on Sorcerer's Shoes for mobility and movement around the map, is just going to be hunting for plays, not so much making them herself. So you would say at the first big item done from the carries, respectively, that'd be the moment where things start to feel very good. Until that point, it is just the junglers who have got their items getting done and looking for those level 6 plays.
Lots of scaling to be done as well, tiers being stacked by both Ryze as well as Ezreal. Here's a big play bottom lane though, they do lock down one, and that's going to be the first kill. Yun trying to dash away, has a shield, but I think the Ignite's going to be enough. No! Lives through it, escapes with just over 20 hit points.
Ult.
Fury taking some damage, Martin throws out a final ultimate. Gonna clip him!
Oh, their health bars are so low.
K-Man jumps in, is able to finish off the kill on towards Fury. Yun tried to save his 80. Not going to work out, but now there is a Yasuo trying to rotate down as well. Angel looking for these picks. FLICKR is here as well. Caveman, no flash to be able to jump over these walls. Not long for this world. He gets a kill for himself, but is taken down by FLICKR.
And FLICKR actually picks that one up as well. Doesn't give it over to Angel, potentially give the kill to the Yasuo, but they trade in the end, and so they will take Cave. If you're Vici, you'll take that trade 100 times over. The support dying in response to the Swain going down. The disadvantage that once again they find themselves in is that Fury, whilst he dies, has got the teleport. He's catching the wave. He's freezing and holding the wave once again. So Suning don't lose all that much for it. And we said this in the first game. You know, Xiao was 0-3 at one stage, but it never felt like he was out of the game.
Yes.
The same thing applies for Fury in this one, is he is holding on very well.
It's interesting though that bottom lane picks are still going for teleport quite frequently, even with the teleport changes coming through on the last few patches.
Yeah, we found ourselves in a weird world. You know, when you think about the original cooldowns of spells, they nerfed heal a while ago, and that was a part of why teleport came out. We're on bottom.
Another gank going towards bottom side of the map. Caveman doesn't have his own ultimate and kidnapped back deeper into the side of Suning's lane, but Caveman going to be taken down. Fury gets it with the final auto attack and a very simple but creative gank coming out from Zach.
Martin's just going to ult to clear the wave, try and sustain himself through the lane, not die or be dove in the 3v1 that was potentially going to happen. So Suning Gaming, they'll retreat their way back to the Mountain Dragon instead. But towards that point, I may as well finish it because we shouldn't have any action for the next. You know what? It really depends on Xiao.
Yeah, Xiao is walking up towards this lane. There's not many minions to start a dive, but Sejuani's going.
Sejuani has got ult.
He's going to try and dash out, gets a smite towards Xiao, locks him down, room prison, but ultimate thrown out. Aldi looks for the knock-up, not going to get it. Now Angel is rotating.
Oh, no Sedge ult. There's a chance that he goes on this on a minion here.
Gets played backwards, jumps over towards a minion, but is just there to make sure that Xiao is okay. Meanwhile,
bottom. The exact thing that I said shouldn't happen happened.
Yeah, that's a dead Ezreal.
Martin died.
Martin no teleport either.
No one wants to concede a thing.
No, blue buff being contested by Vici. They don't get it. Suning picks it up. Martin's going to come back up in 5 seconds, but no teleport means Suning will get good damage on towards this turret. Caveman trying to do what he can. But as a very tanky Alistar, he's not going to get much done. Teleport coming down as well, so they're going to try and attack Caveman. Has the ultimate available. Jumps in, lands on top of the turret. There's the Ryze jumping in, and we broke the game.
Damn. That's an unfortunate time to pause. They are executing a dive onto the Alistar, so... I mean, what you would expect in this current situation is that Alistar will be a very dead man. Caveman, tragically, should not be too long for this world, but we'll see where the problem is first and foremost. But at the moment, it seemed like Suning were the ones talking.
Yeah, I mean, Caveman will get so much damage reduction from his ultimate as well. There is the off chance that he just lives through the gank coming his way, but that is a lot of people in the bottom lane. That's a Zac. It's a Ryze being thrown down as well.
We're back.
We're back in. Caveman has taken a lot of damage. Aldi forced to teleport, but he jumps back in towards Fog of War. Sliver of health, and Xiao picks up that kill. Now Aldi, he's stuck underneath this turret. There's 5 members of Suning down here. Martin being pushed away from this turret too. Audi gonna do what he can. Locked down, Rune Prison's through as well. Angel still getting good order, attacks down. Hacker jumps back in. Knockup comes through from Cho'Gath. Hacker gonna be knocked down into his passive. Fire Rain trying to do what he can. There's Angel jumping in, throws out the wind wall, gets good damage on towards Martin.
Angel running a dangerous game here, but the tower's already gone.
Oh, doesn't go in.
Oh, he almost went there.
Could have jumped on the portal, decides not to.
Not. Is not covering that distance. It's a Zoe, not a Rek'Sai. Either way, we are going to disengage. The turret goes down. Sinning Gaming, they get the lead thereafter. Vici are going to try and trade on the opposite side of the map right now. But as it stands, the early play is still Suning.
Here comes the Stand United, and everyone from Suning is still in this lane. Caveman, he just died.
But they're just picking on him. This is like the 4th time in a row.
Yeah, it is. That's his 4th death. Caveman is not having a good set, Rusty.
Like, and the thing that really perplexes me is that the flow chart. You know, the information that Vici have got leaves you with a set amount of decisions that you should be able to make, right? But Caveman finds a way to break that wall and come up with some decisions of his own. And some of those do get him killed. Some of those are not expecting your opponents to be there. I don't think anyone expected Suning to still be there. So that is a part of why he dies this time. But even Martin's been making some decisions like that. And I'll give you an example after we watch this replay as Martin gets caught out.
This was the solo kill from Fury and Martin.
Yeah. So he's got no dash. Fury ults, I would expect very soon. We're going to fast forward a few seconds. Martin feels like he's got it. The claw will be up right now.
Never move, Martin.
All right.
That was easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so what was this point? I'm going to finish up. I've forgotten. Oh, well.
I'm so distracted. Why did he do any of that?
Who, Martin?
Yeah.
Because he can. Assuming is the answer. Well, besides all the plays bottom lane, Rusty, besides the fact that Suning have consistently ganked Vici over and over again, gold is dead even.
Yeah, the gold's even, but it still feels like Suning Gaming have momentum. You know, they've got the last set of kills of their own accord. They got the turret, they broke the map open. Vici definitely feel like they're on the back foot, and that's because they are. But they are still trying to make the counter plays. So right now, they're looking towards mid.
Oh, ultimate being thrown out, trying to lock down Hacker and Fury. That was for force splash coming up from Swain.
They get a turret for it.
Turret is going to fall. Rift Turret is still alive and fairly healthy, so Vici could push through. Now 2 turrets to 1. They take a gold lead for themselves.
That's a big rotation actually out of their Yasuo. He needs to be super careful.
Being chased down now. Fire Rain looking to try and collapse. Use the free flash over the wall. That's a flash forward from Yutang. Collapsed by Caveman. Pops the cleanse, but put to sleep, and Martin gets the kill. You're right, Angel needs to be careful. He wasn't.
He was very deep, looking for an incredibly long flank around from his opponents, and if Vici funneled in to go for the turret, then definitely it could have worked. Ryze was also rotating from the bottom side, but Vici, they make the smart choice. They back away towards the person on the flank, and they give themselves such a gigantic numbers advantage that Sinning Gaming had no response besides do your best, Yasuo, and try and survive. They'll push bottom, they'll push mid back out, but at the end of the day, Vici, they got the Rift Herald charge in mid, and they got a second charge off, and they get a kill for it. They're actually growing a gold lead.
Yep, they're in the gold lead, but they're up against a diamond team because Shower has been promoted to Master, Rusty.
Oh, that's Challenger.
That's Master. I'm going closer.
Those are definitely some orange and blue colors.
It looks like Master to me, buddy. Got the silver border. I don't know, someone will yell at me in a second and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty far away from me. I can't tell.
Oh no, Martin gets hit!
Oh no, he ulted!
Stuck in the ultimate! Yeah, that scream pretty much sums up that play in the top lane.
You hate to see it. And now Caveman again!
Oh, hit the blast, hit the Honey Fruit, locks him down, slowed down by the Honey Fruit as well. Angel's gonna get the knock up, pulled back by Fury, locked down by Never Move. This Alistar definitely never moving. Another pick for Sunny.
That was a bouncing castle for Caveman. He presses R and it's just crowd controlled into oblivion. No way out this time. That's actually really dangerous for Angel. He'll get his passive up right now, so he'll survive.
And Stand United being thrown out for good measure as well. Cancelled by Yutang. Ultimate thrown out. Tanked by Hacker. And a collective effort coming out from Suning. They save both Angel and you.
Great intercept from Hacker, the MVP there. And The shield from Yoon, I respect it. Maybe didn't need to throw that one out. Now we're looking towards, is it an Ezreal? No, it's the Trouble Bubble. So the Scrying Orb comes across. Vici still have control of the Rift. Just keep that in mind. They are, whilst not winning this game, they are bringing back that momentum game. They're equalizing control. And now they get a chance to push mid inner.
Getting good damage on towards it. They've got their 80 carry of Ezreal here. They take it down. Cheeky flash away from Fire Rain.
You can't tell me this time that Fury's not having a good game and is really vying for that MVP position if Suning Gaming come out on top in this second one.
Why is Fury not challenger?
Now 5-2.
They collapse on towards Hacker though. Face checks the bush inside of his own jungle. Popped into his passive. Suning are going to try and rotate. Teleport on to save the blows a little bit longer. Fire Rain, they're caught out. Ignite is ticking. He's going to fall. Yoon gets the first kill of the fight. Hacker going to try and stay alive a little bit longer. Now taking them down. Tries to get the knock up and gets successfully. This is going to be Suning's fight now. Fury charges forward. Force Lightning gets him the double kill.
The Rise ult.
Brown Ward going to take the further forward. Yudang going to take a lot of damage and lockdown. Exhausting being thrown out for good measure. Shower gets that kill and Fury has found the one-on-one once again. Red buff attacks coming out from Fury. Hardgate shift from Martin will come up shortly. Tries to duke this one out. Throws it out. Never move. Force Lightning wrong direction. Does get the stopwatch. You're going to try and block the Qs coming out. And that's another kill going the way to Swain.
And the thumbs up from Yoon at the end once they secure the ace. His MVP partner in crime comes in to save the day. Fury, whilst he's doing a lot of damage, Yoon makes sure that he hits it home strong. And Suning Gaming, they get the team fight, and they just regain all of the control over Summoner's Rift once again. Walk out of base, maybe even set up on the Baron side of the map. We have to see some 6 stats from Furious Swain, 11-2 win-loss record so far.
Which is surprising that we're seeing him pick up 2 games of Swain. He's good on the champion, and Vici already identified that going into this set.
The thing is, the whole league has identified that. It is banned from him 55% of the time. So
yes.
24 bans against him on specifically this pick. We'll get to see this fight again. Now, in this fight, Hacker should be dead 1,000,000 times over. So in my mind, I was like, surely someone teleported to a blob. So they do. And that's one thing that saves him. Fury is the MVP in that regard, comes in clutch and gets the stopwatch off, so they keep him alive. And then he gets off the ult, he gets off the knock-up, he sets up the Yasuo. And through all of this time, the Zoe dies, the Zac lives, he sets up the ultimate, and all of that comes from a simple teleport onto the Zac block, because Vici choose to engage on him first. And that was the correct choice. It's, once again, how they follow that choice up with mechanical execution or decision making. In this case, it was Fire Rain trying to get damage on the flank just to assassinate him, finds himself caught.
When you think about it, his job is to be a tank. The more crowd control he can land, the better. He bought so much time for his team. The rest of Vici were looking at Zac for so long. Stopwatch, the passive, the teleport, and even the ultimate at the end to get a bit more crowd control. Good coming out from Hacker.
He's about to get the Gargoyle Stoneblade as well, so nearly unkillable potentially as the Zac is mid.
Yudang going to try and force a fight, has Caveman with the flank as well. Yoon going to take some damage. They put Fury to sleep, pops the stopwatch, and Hacker's going to jump in, try and take up the damage. Fury forced to use his own ultimate. Knocks out of the fight for now, but it's fights on 2 fronts. Look at mid lane. Caveman taking damage. Yudang going to try and jump in as well. Audi going forward. Has an ultimate being thrown on towards Angel, living with a little bit of hit points left. Shout out. Going to get the first kill of this fight. Vici getting good damage in the back half here. They'll lose their support, but everyone else from the side of Suning has already taken so much damage.
Keep your eyes on Fire Aim with that Summoner's Spell Thief flash as well, available to keep going forwards. They'll push him away. Suning Gaming, they don't get the execution they're after. In fact, a lot of that was just credit to Vici, namely from Fire Aim with his timing on the spells. The fight dissipates, everything diffuses, but Vici still hold the fort down. They do not go down without a fight, and in fact, they control their opponents in that. And they don't best them, but they match them once again.
They matched them, they still lost Caveman, who has been the unfortunate intern in this match. 1-7 so far in Alistar. Audi getting locked down. Hacker's going to try and follow through to join this fight. Already used his rubber jump.
5 seconds.
Audi taking quite a bit of damage now, 1-2. A little bit impossible for him. Shower gets that kill into Cho'Gath.
He's just going to go down. That's what Hacker can do. That's what a Zac can do on Summoner's Rift once he hits that level 9 point as well. So he's able to cover so much distance, get those ganks off in places where he honestly has no right being, and so can Arise. They get themselves into a spot where Audi didn't think he was overextended at all, and most people would look at that situation and say, well, he wasn't. Suning made him so.
No response coming out from Vici after that play was made towards bottom side of the map, and Vici held on to a nice small lead for themselves, but now 14-4 in this match. Suning have control of the game. They're 3,000 gold up.
And it's moments like that that actually stand out to me. Fisher's good things that Suning Gaming do, because that was very proactive, and that was at a point where they saw the Zoe next to the Baron buff on a ward. And so with that information, knowing where their opponents were, they're able to use their kits to the fullest to cover distance at the correct timings and get kills. And those kills are the things that give them leads. If you take down that Cho'Gath, suddenly you've got a minute with Baron to work with, you know, and then suddenly Suning Gaming with a Baron end the game. That's the kind of plays that you expect from a side that will be going into the playoffs.
You're done getting locked down. Spotted out by Swain, knocks the passive off of Sejuani, you're right. This is the type of things we want to see from Suning going into the playoff run. It's a difficult run for them. A lot of LPL teams incredibly strong at the moment. We're going to see 2 of them after this match. If you've been following the LPL, the next match after Suning Vici will probably be the best one you get to watch this entire split. JD are on form, and they're going to give Invictus Gaming a run for their money in the Eastern Conference.
They're going for the fight of Xiaoao.
Caveman with the pulverized flash gets them towards Angel, but his crowd control doesn't do too much to start. Xiaoao does take a lot of damage. Kidnap brings Hacker into the back lines.
Look at Angel.
Try to fight his back. Wow, what a big knockup coming out from Angel. Locks all of them down. Gives Fury the ultimate to knock them down quite low. Vici still fighting this one quite well. Martin staying alive. Has some mana to work with. Good dodge coming out from Audi. Yuldan back to the fight once again. Fire Rain popping through the portal, but Xiaoao gonna go pop off. Good damage. Lockdown. Martin gets the kill. Back and forth, and Vici come out on top.
Vici do come out well on top. The Zoe and the Ezreal doing so much damage in the fight, and suddenly they get themselves with a very good victory of a team fight. Now their health bars are lacking, so going straight to the Baron is risky business and something they may not want to do. But they call that a day. They get the team fight victory and they quell the threat of their opponents. They stem the bleeding.
Bring the gold back.
And they bring it all the way back once again.
It was that fight started off with a force from Caveman.
And it was a sick force because he headbutts the Banshee's Veil, then flash pulverizes to hit 2 people. So while Xiaoao survives, he has no health and his relevance in this fight is lacking. And the second Angel gets that ult off, he's headbutted over the wall. So the rest of that combo's gone, and then he's just feasted on by a Cho'Gath. And suddenly Vici from this position actually stay in the driver's seat. Now their health bars don't reflect it, but when they're fighting next to a wall with a Zoe and an Ezreal poking from longer range, it feels like they're comfortable. And Xiaoao, he almost gets himself a multitude of kills there, but not to be seen. Well executed, once again mechanically, from Vici Gaming.
Try to go very aggressive at the end. Hello.
That wasn't a real one. I checked as well.
Uses his fake stopwatch. Bought it from the fake markets. Fury is 9-3-4 though. Rabadon's death cap already picked up for Swain. He's promoted to Master as well.
Vici probably don't recognize that they're only 1,000 gold behind, and I think whilst this is fair as a bait, it's risky. What they want to do is engage regardless, with a Sejuani, with a Cho'Gath, with an Alistar.
Oh, that's Righteous Glory being popped by Audi looking for the engage, but Fury stops him.
And it's mid lane control, mid lane priority for Suning Gaming, where from Vici it's the fight they're after.
They're going in, Hacker starts the fight, gets the double knock up on towards Martin. K-Man taking quite a bit of damage though, already popped the Unbreakable Will, needs to try and disengage now, but the first kill is going to go towards the side of Angel. Flashing forward, looking to try and collapse on towards Market. Ryan's going to jump in as well, gets over the walls, gets to the safety of Krugs. Krugs almost kills him, but Fire Rain's going to fall. Fury gets the flank and gets the damage he needs.
And Martin barely survives, he can't recall because he has to hit the Krugs. They were aggroed, and suddenly Suning Gaming, they go to the Baron, and they set themselves up to succeed because they get the team fight on their terms. Martin's in a sick battle, why would we watch Baron?
Yeah, why watch Baron when we can see Audi fall and Martin fight Krugs? Meanwhile, Yuldan wants to try and go for the steal, but he's being kept occupied by Fury as well. Xiaoao throwing out the ultimate as well, just to make sure he can get back to base, and that gives Suning enough time to secure Baron, as well as a 4,000 gold lead.
Hits him with the wind wall as well. Shows him that he's still paying attention, he's not in the shop. That Yasuo is a big part of why they were able to succeed in that last little trade as well. Dodging away from the engage, getting to the minion wave, and the rest of Suning Gaming very comfortably find themselves now in the driver's seat.
Yep.
Turrets to follow with a Baron buff to follow.
We also see everyone from Suning being pulled over the line to Diamond. Fury gets promoted to Master, and Xiaoao challenger tier, Rusty. He is challenger.
It looks the exact same as Fury's, bro.
Let's look at the replay first.
Now, Hacker rather, is the one that goes forwards here at the start. Very nice crowd control from him. Gargoyle's Stoneplate means he's unkillable. And during all of this time, Caveman's ultimate will subside. So with that first kill gone, Fire Rain, trying to help his team, stands inside the red buff. and ults over the wall and then has to come back. So he just dies.
Whoops.
Instead of running away. But that is a Zoe problem. Zoe excels at going forwards, not at kiting backwards. So they prey upon her.
Now with Baron buff, Sunning are going to try and push for these next few turrets. Inner turrets still remain in all 3 lanes for the side of Vici. But once Sunning take all these down, that's going to be a big gold lead for Sunning.
Definitely, and very comfortable at the moment in terms of map movements from Sunning Gaming. They push top side, they have Yoon protecting Angel. They have the vision set up, they have a Shen physically in position as well. And now you'd expect Angel pressuring this top side, whilst Ryze is pressuring bottom, and they've got the Baron buff pushing in mid with this 1-3-1, that they can move between the lanes freely and just get more and more turrets from this. Ryze Ultimate uniquely capable as well of moving a minion wave between those lanes, so something you may see coming out of Xiao.
Yes, Fire Rain. Good job.
Really got him.
Whee!
He
Good
got
damage.
him. It could have win-walled, but he didn't think it would hit him.
He didn't think it would take that much damage, I would assume as well. Now at half health, you don't look like he wants to try and force a fight. Rubber Hand's going to come out. Another sleep goes through. Good damage on towards the Sunning players, but they get good damage on
Ryze
towards
is winning the
Vici's
1v1.
inhibitors. So inhibitor turret in the bottom lane taken down. Top lane inhibitor turret at half health. Mid lane still has its inner turret.
Feeling good. They're able to go back once again. Angel, he did have an Ocean Dragon, and he had a red buff giving him some extra health back, so he'll be okay. The fight may be on here. Yeah, they want it.
Ooh, good flashball voice coming out from Caveman once again. Locks down Fury as well as Yoon. Vici going to try and follow up. Fury forced to use his own Zhonya's there, looking to lock down this Swain. Another initiation coming out from Hacker. Kidnap brings 3 people back. Teleport's coming through, but Fury pops. Gets good damage. The first kill to Martin as well. That's all the consistent damage from Vici taken away. Fire Rain forced it back off as well. Angel gets a double kill for himself. Xiao wants to collapse, not quite fast enough to get on towards Fire Rain, who'll get back towards his fountain. But that's going to be game here, Rusty.
For a hot second, I thought Xiao was going to follow into the Nexus, but you're right, the game's pretty much over here. Baron buff is all it takes for Sunning Gaming to close out the 2-0.
This turret's going to be taken down. Sunning going to keep Vici away from their Nexus. They can't play defense if they're stuck underneath their turret. And a much more clinical game too. Vici looked like they could fight back, so there were still signs of life for them, but just not enough against Sunning. 2-0 on the day.
Moments of hope from Vici, but they're only glimmers. It's not consistent, not even close to consistent enough to get a victory of even a map here against Sunning Gaming. And this is 4th place versus 7th place in the conference, and rightly so. Sunning Gaming have proven that they are able to take it to them. They are able to get the clean 2-0 coming into playoffs. And Vici, they are doing their reverse Invictus Gaming this split, staring down a potential 1-18.
Even worse than their performance during the spring split. But it seems like Sunning, there were places they needed to be, Rusty. And I'm pretty sure where they needed to be was right here to watch the next set we have today. Making it fast and quick so we can get into the IG-JD set.
ASAP would be brilliant. But you're right, Sunning Gaming in this game, they made it easy. They did make it fairly quick as well. And they are the kind of team that does like to have those quick games. They best Vici on the Rift twice in a row, no problems whatsoever. And really didn't feel like there was a moment where Vici had control. You know, it felt like they had wrestled back to being even. And at that exact moment, once they had been even, someone was caught out of position. Sunning Gaming back in control again in the driver's seat. Pretty much the entire game, actually.
Vici struggles continue. We heard it earlier before the second match. But they're hoping they can lock down a roster for 2019. But as long as they still have all the players they're currently using, looking to experiment with some of their matches, including today, running a few substitutes, but it just wasn't enough. And it hasn't been for some time for Vici.
It certainly has not been, of course. When you look at this set, 31 minutes was the game time. Fury was my MVP, and I'll be shocked if he doesn't get the MVP in this second game. Very much deserving.
Out, he hit Challenger.
As an overall set performer, I think that Fury definitely had his pop off.
He played very well on Swain, and that was the pick that Vici was saying at the very start, that they were going to look to try and take away from Fury, but they didn't. In both sets. And they identified that before they went into the series against Suning.
I mean, it was loosely related to knowing that he has the Swain and trying to play around it. And I don't think they specifically said we will ban the Swain. Obviously they didn't in that one, but they changed up their draft. They picked the Ezreal in the second game. They were consistently picking the Alistar as well to knock away the Swain or knock away the Shen in that matchup. And I think to me the problem was that they didn't just give over the Swain, they gave over the Swain Shen. And that duo just has so much pressure in lane and outside of the lane by having the teleport on the Swain and the ultimate from the Shen to influence the map. And that really does feel like that's where Suning is at their most comfortable because they made very good plays around their 2v2.
I mean, mid-game and early game was where Suning were able to play the best, it seems, and laning phase is a part of that combo. Fury and Yoon looked very good in the bottom lane. They've been quite solid in the bottom lane. They never really stood out like Uzi and Ming did during Spring Split, but they've been good.
I mean, no one's going to stand out like Uzi and Ming does. That's for certain. But I think towards Fury and Yoon in this split, I actually think they've had a very solid showing to the point where they have stood out a bit more. Like when you think all the way back to when Suning first joined the LPL, they were not the best at that start of that split, and then they slowly got it together more and more. The one thing Suning had when they were finding themselves was good macro play. They had a very good macro play around their bottom laners of Fury and Yoon. But this is the first split I've really looked at them and said, micro-wise, they're winning lane more often than not currently, even against the best players like Uzi and Ming, because Suning Gaming did win lane against them.
They did. They played very well against them, and in this match against Vici, they picked up the 2-0 win. They were able to clean out some of the problems they had, which was trying to finish matches.
Yep.
Suning executed the end of the games quite well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Suning don't need to close out in late game if you can close out in early game. That's always been a good way to look at that. But Baron, they're securing Barons now. They're doing it successfully around team fights, and that was a big thing they were struggling with before. So once they hit those late game stages, I mean, this particular fight, Fury is unkillable. Even with the early Zhonya's use, is unkillable. So Suning Gaming are always destined to win this one. And that is, again, the byproduct of they get the Baron, they then get the team fights with the Baron, and they cannot lose at that point.
There was 2 back-to-back initiations coming out from Caveman as well that set up Vici for its fight, but both times felt like the follow-up was a little bit lackluster, but there you go, Rusty, you got it.
My boy got it.
Fury gets the MVP.
And a very deserving one at that, of course. Fury and Yoon as a duo, you think back to their trades in the bottom lane, even when they were being ganked and almost dying. Yoon tried his hardest to save him. Fury almost survives as well. That duo, to me, is always going to be my favorite to watch from Suning Gaming. Whilst their top lane is explosive, those two have been together for so long, their synergy is incredible.
And if I remember correctly, they do have another match to play before playoffs, but Suning will be an exciting team to watch when they go into playoffs. Speaking of excitement, we've got our match of the week coming up. Invictus Gaming will be taking on JD Gaming. It's going to be the best match you watch during the summer split of the LPL, so don't go anywhere. We're going to a break. We'll be back with that match in just a bit.
这个夏天，IG 有太多东西需要证明，请大家拭目以待。